Have you ever felt like you're just surviving? That the days go by as if you're stuck in a meaningless routine, trying to meet expectations you don't even know where they came from? Maybe you've done everything right, studied, worked, tried to be a good person, and yet there's a void, a lack of purpose that seems to grow silently inside you. If you feel this way, you're not alone. And that's exactly where we step into the universe of Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche was not an easy thinker, nor did he want to be, but his ideas have the power to free us from a way of life that no longer serves. He believed that suffering is inevitable, but that when we have a true why to live, we can face any pain, any doubt, any exhaustion. The key lies in finding that why. And no, this why is not something someone is going to give you. It doesn't come from a self-help book or a moral rule you've inherited. For Nietzsche, the meaning of life is not discovered. It is created by you. It is born when you decide to stop following a ready-made script and start writing your own. This journey requires courage. You'll have to question ideas you always believed to be absolute truths. You'll need to look within and discover what truly pulses inside you, what moves you, what you desire with brutal honesty. And more than that, you'll have to stand by those choices. Nietzsche invites us to abandon the idols, the fixed rules of right and wrong, success and failure, that teach us to live to please others, not ourselves. Instead, he proposes a path of affirmation of life, with everything it contains: joys, falls, pain, pleasure, chaos. And that is where true freedom lies. This video is an invitation, not for you to understand Nietzsche like someone studying for a test, but to apply what he proposed to your life. Because maybe what you're missing is not another perfect plan, but the courage to be imperfect and still live in a true, powerful, and free way. Imagine for a moment that you're going through a hard time in life, a loss, a deep doubt, a discouragement that seems endless. It is exactly in these moments that Nietzsche offers us a light, a direction to move forward. His most well-known phrase, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how," is more than a nice thought. It's a powerful truth, an invitation to transformation. But what is this why he talks about? And how can we find it? The answer lies within each of us, in our own experiences, desires, and deepest dreams. This why is the meaning we give to our existence, the reason we get up every day, even when the world feels too heavy. Nietzsche realized that life is essentially full of challenges and suffering. We can't escape that, nor pretend the difficulties don't exist. Suffering is an inevitable part of our path, but what sets us apart is how we respond to it. The meaning we give to suffering can be our greatest strength. For example, think of someone who has lost everything, who has faced poverty, rejection, and the deep pain of loneliness. This person can choose to surrender to despair, to nihilism, which is the idea that nothing has meaning. Or they can find within themselves a reason, a why so strong that it makes all the difference. Love for someone, a dream that hasn't died, faith in their own ability to be reborn. It's this internal flame that can transform suffering into strength and courage. Nietzsche was one of the first to analyze what we now call nihilism, which is the emptiness felt when we realize that the old values and beliefs that once guided our lives have lost their power. In modernity, with the advance of science, reason, and social changes, many people began to question traditional ideas about morality, God, and the meaning of life. This emptiness can be terrifying because without a clear meaning, without a why, everything seems lost. It's the moment when life can seem like just a sequence of pointless events. But Nietzsche doesn't leave us stuck in this desert. He challenges us to go further, to not accept this emptiness as our final destiny. Instead of seeking a ready-made meaning imposed from outside, Nietzsche invites us to be creators of our own meaning. He says that each person has the capacity and the responsibility to create their own values, their own goals, and their own path. This requires courage because it's not easy to let go of old certainties and dive into the unknown, where only our will exists. This process is like being an artist of your own life, shaping it from what makes sense to you, not to society or a religion. It's an immense freedom, but it also brings a huge responsibility. A central concept in Nietzsche is the will to power, But it's important to understand that this idea doesn't refer just to a quest for control or domination over others. The will to power, for Nietzsche, is something deeper. It's the vital force that drives us to grow, to overcome limits, to fully express ourselves. Think of the will to power as an internal energy that motivates us to be who we really are, to develop our potential, to fight for our dreams even in the face of difficulties. This force is what makes human beings seek meaning, create, innovate, and transform themselves. In daily life, we can notice the will to power in small decisions. When we persist in a project, when we defend our ideas, when we get up after a fall, it is our life force in action. But Nietzsche also warns us not to confuse this will with aggression or the desire to control others. The true will to power is about our own transformation and authentic expression, not about subjugating others. One of Nietzsche's deepest and most liberating ideas is the concept of amor fati, which means love of fate. This means accepting and loving life exactly as it is, with all its joys, pains, successes, and mistakes. Loving fate is not resignation or passivity. On the contrary, it's an active attitude of radical acceptance of reality, without wishing it were different. It's a way of finding joy and meaning even in difficulties, because they are part of the whole that is our life. Imagine the difference it would make in your life if you could see challenges not as enemies, but as part of the path that must be walked, that needs to be lived. If, instead of fighting the inevitable, you learn to embrace it and find in it reasons to grow. This radical acceptance doesn't deny the desire to change what can be changed, but avoids the constant frustration that comes from resisting what has already happened or what is beyond our control. Another concept Nietzsche proposes to evaluate the quality of our existence is the eternal return, an idea that may seem strange at first glance, but has great transformative power. He asks us to imagine that we will have to live the same life, exactly the same way, countless times forever. Every pain, every joy, every detail, repeating infinitely. Ask yourself, would you accept this life? Would you love it enough to want to repeat it forever? This question is a ruler to measure whether we are living a life truly worth living. If the answer is no, Nietzsche invites us to make changes, to take responsibility for what we do, to seek a meaning that makes existence worthy of being lived infinitely. This reflection may seem frightening, but it is also a call to live with intensity, authenticity, and presence. Now that we understand a bit of these ideas, let's think together. How can we bring these teachings into our daily lives, our relationships, decisions, and emotions? Find your personal why. Take time to reflect on what really matters to you, what gets you out of bed every day. Not what others expect, but what makes your heart beat stronger. Face suffering as part of growth. Understand that difficulties are not punishments, but opportunities to strengthen your character and broaden your understanding of life. Create your own values. Instead of blindly following imposed rules or standards, question, reflect, and define what is truly important to you. Cultivate amor fati. Practice accepting life as it is, embracing challenges and imperfections, finding beauty and learning in each moment. Live as if you were going to repeat this life eternally. Make conscious choices that you can look back on without regret, with pride in your journey. Nietzsche is not just a distant philosopher with difficult and inaccessible texts. He gives us powerful tools to face life's challenges with courage, authenticity, and passion. His ideas invite us to leave passivity behind, to take control of our existence, and to find meaning even in the darkest moments. Remember, life will never be perfect nor idealized as we imagine, but it can be lived fully when we discover our why and let it guide our steps, facing any how that appears along the way. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Nietzsche's philosophy and want to keep reflecting on how to apply these ideas to transform your life, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who might benefit from these reflections, and subscribe to the channel to receive more content like this. Your journey is just beginning, and the power to create your own meaning is in your hands.